Alright, so now we're going to hear from Mayor Swaby, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it.
Thank you, MP Natalie Nita Garvey, our spokesperson on local government. She had looked at it from a broader perspective. I will more go into on a granular basis to indicate what actually happens at the local authority. Over the past few weeks, or I should say months, the government have been spreading misleading information about funding of local government. These are blatant lies. There are three sources of funds mainly to each local authority: the parochial revenue fund, the subvention from the ministry, and our own source with our revenue such as building approval and signs and billboard. The road repairs are funded from the parochial revenue fund. The government would want you to believe that all of this money is spent on repairs of road. While it is road related, what that means is that if there are drains to be cleaned, we have to use from the parochial revenue fund. If there are bushing to be done, it has to be used from the parochial revenue fund. If there are retaining walls to be built, it has to be used from the parochial revenue fund. Just at the beginning of each hurricane season, the government always instructed the local authority to use the first 2 months of the road repairs money to clean drains. You will understand why I speak mostly of the KCMC situation, because that's the one I'm most familiar with. But at the same time, it exists in all local authorities. And I want to say quite clearly that I understand the situation of my JLP mayors, because we have talked. Some of them have encouraged me to continue to speak up, and I will continue to do so. In the case of the Kingston St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, we have received $85 million per month. That is an average. And you would have heard that other local authorities receive as low as $13 million. In the case of the KCMC, we have 40 divisions, and what we do, we have a divisional allocation fund that it is basically shared up, and on average, each council is guaranteed a minimum of $13 million. But that $13 million might seem to be big, but I want to go a little bit further into that. Annually also, I want to go a little bit further. If we are to repair 1 kilometer of parochial road with a width of 6.5 meters wide, it will cost an average of $40 million. And I want to just poetry what is this. Just imagine that you're in Papine Square. And a length of road, like 1 kilometer length of road, is from the Papine Square just a little bit above Hope Gardens entrance. That is what 1 kilometer is. So if we are achieving $85 million, you'll understand it. And I'll go even further. We have far more than 100 kilometers of road. Far more. And it would take me roughly $33 million a month if we are to fix those roads in a sustainable way. But put funding aside, $333 million, so we have a shortfall of $248 million a month.
You guys remember when Andrew Wallace said it would cost, I think, about $3 trillion to fix all the roads in Jamaica? Let's continue.
That is what it is. But I want to go further. It's not just funding.
I think it's $7 trillion. I'm going to look that up.
Talking about the human resources that is available to the municipal authority. Currently at the KCMC, we only have 4 officers to service all 40 divisions. Ideally, we'd like to have 10. And I'm sure in the rural areas, which would be much more than that. And I want to point out also that it is a responsibility of the Local Government Services Commission who do deal with firing. And we have made many representation to the Local Government Service Commission for the need for more staff. I want to turn my attention now to the issue of own source. And I just want to speak on one particular issue.
So, them understaffed as well. Oh, interesting.
Last week at the JLP's Era 1 Council meeting, under the banner of Truth Matters, the minister indicated that local authorities receive $64 billion from development projects approval fees. That's the furthest thing from the truth. I believe what the minister wants to say is that all local government, local authorities approve investment up to $64 billion. I believe that's what he wants to say. Because in the case of the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, where I believe most of the development is done, we only had $277 million from building approval fees. And I want to cite something more precise. If we were receiving $64 billion, it means that if you just do an average, each authority will get $5 billion. The budget for the KCMC last financial year was $5 billion. So we do not need to have a local government. We would fund it, all things being the same. That is what it means. And for the KCMC own source revenue, the total of that 20 streams that you hear the minister speak about, we had a total of $906 million. That's the highest the KCMC ever achieved. KCMC own source revenue, a total of $906 million. That's the highest the KCMC ever achieved. The own source revenue, the total of that 20 streams that you hear the minister speak about, we had a total of $906 million.
So, when they do the numbers, $906 million is what they collected from their own source revenue. But the budget for the year was $5 billion. I don't know if y'all do math, but that 906, when they divide it in a $5 billion, it's like more than 5 times. So they would be short 4 point something the times the money that they would need for their budget for the year. Let's continue.
That's the highest the KCMC ever achieved, primarily because of the building, the Signs and Billboard campaign, which we have gotten an extra $50 million from.
So, big up Mr. Swaby. Numbers don't lie. Because of his work that he did in terms of, collecting the money that they are supposed to collect and not letting these entities get away with not paying the money that they're supposed to pay. An additional $50 million was collected last year, and it heightened the total to $906 million in terms of own source revenue, the highest in the history of the KCMC. That's performance, ladies and gentlemen. Give the man a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Just imagine the smaller local authorities and the pressure that they are under.
I mean, that's a good point, because the KCMC is one of the biggest municipalities. It rains the most money, and that's why the JP were so upset. You guys remember the voice note when the lady was chastising Dennis? Yes. But you wanna cause all that bad with them? Yes, I remember. She was so upset because apparently KCMC is a feeding tree for the Jamaica Labour Party. Allegedly. She was very upset. The local government, me tell you, say, Pastor Peter Chambers prophecy them, you don't need to pay attention, The man them was so upset with the local government election. You know what to say? All know them declare say the PMP win. And you see this local government election that's coming up, that's why they are campaigning so hard and putting out certain narratives out there. They want to take over back the local government. But Jesus said no. There will be justice. Let's continue, ladies and gentlemen.
I want to touch a little bit on this subvention, and I would have had some public pronouncement on this. I think it was in last December when I've indicated that we are being shortfall in terms of salaries. The government boasts on its reclassification compensation package, and they are not paying up. They are not providing the resources each month, adequate resources, let me say, to pay salaries. When I checked,
No, man. So them short staff and they're not paying adequate resources for the people them salary.
Embarrassing. We need some milk.
they are not providing the resources each month, adequate resources, let me say, to pay salaries. When I checked, we have to find at the KCMC an average of $45 million a month to deal with salaries. This is what we have to find from our own source resources. And we haven't talked about insurance. We haven't talked about all the operational costs, including light bills. For us at the KCMC, it costs us just for 24 Church Street alone, roughly $2 million a month to pay for our light bills. And we have other buildings that we have to take care of. I want to spend some time now just to talk about some recent pronouncement from Minister Robert Morgan. I would have...
Well, go to Robert Morgan, sir. No, hold on. Jamaica. Are we hearing the same things? This is an utter disgrace. So them have to use them own money out of them own source income. $45 million worth of salary. Them have to come up with. No man, no.
From Minister in light bills. For us at the KCMC, we went from our own source resources. We have to find at the KCMC an average of $45 million a month to deal with salaries. This is what we have to find from our own source resources. And we haven't talked about insurance. We haven't talked about all the operational costs, including light bills. For us at the KCMC, it costs us just for 24 Church Street alone, roughly $2 million a month to pay for our light bills. And we have other buildings that we have to take care of. I want to spend some time now just to talk about some recent pronouncements from Minister Robert. I would have debated publicly on my position on the One Word Authority. And yes, I've gone to a meeting with Mr. Morgan and Mr. Mackenzie. And let me say up front, I support the need for standardization and better coordination of road construction right across Jamaica. Our people deserve better. However, I cannot see how One Road Authority solve the fundamental challenge of sustainable finances for road construction and repair. That is also the crux of the matter. And what is troubling is that Mr. Morgan boasts how he will, and Minister Mackenzie, will look after, and he cited an example of what exists in North West St. Andrew. And I understand the pain of the residents of North St. Andrew, but not only that constituency, right across Jamaica. But what I want to ask Minister Morgan and Minister Mackenzie, were these roads in that condition before 2024, before we have a PMP-led administration? Why didn't he help at that time? I want to ask him further, is this a backdoor deal? In that condition before 2024, before we have a PMP-led administration? Why didn't he help? Were these roads in that condition before 2024, before we have a PMP-led administration? Why didn't he help at that time? I want to ask him further, is this a backdoor deal to help JLP-led divisions and constituency? I want to ask him further also, in 2020, when we pushed for a resolution to increase the division allocation fund at the KCMC, and the Delroy Williams-led administration denied us of that, the residents, not us. Why did he say something to Desmond? Not to Desmond, but to Delroy. I want to ask him further. He said he called me out to increase the division allocation fund. Wasn't he aware that both caucuses, the JLP and the PNP caucuses, was having discussion about increase? I want to ask him also, isn't he aware that the Delroy Williams-led administration has left me with a big bill of over $200 million for retention?
What can go so? Ball out! Whoa, yo, yo, yo. We need help, Jesus. Jamaica need help. Shift the parliament. Shift the election. Shift everything. Remove them out there. Take out the cockroach. Take out the thief. Take out the criminal them. Take out the thief them. Take out the murderer them. Take out the gang leader them. Out of parliament. Take them out. From Portland. Take them out. I hear Portland. Me go to Portland. Why me I travel to Portland? Take out somebody. Man or woman.
Jamaica, I could play that again. Because me and Swaby come with his sword. The flaming sword to the mighty God.
Having discussion about increase. I want to ask him also, isn't he aware that the Delroy Williams-led administration has left me with a big bill of over $200 million for retention?
Jamaica, when you hear that word a while ago, Natalie Nita Garvey was stunned. Absolutely stunned. Stunned, ladies and gentlemen. She was not aware. 200 million? Play that again.
Aware that the Delroy Williams-led administration has left me with a big bill of over $200 million for retention. And he also must be aware that they have left me with a similar bill for general bills of over $200 million going back as far as 2021.
Something not right, my wisdom warriors. Something is not right. Tell about them.
Jamaica, you know, I pray that God exposes these criminals when the right time comes. I really do. The Jamaica Labour Party needs to be the light of the truth of their depth of corruption, needs to be shined brightly so that the Jamaica Labour Party can never rise in this country ever again. And the remnants of the Jamaica Labour Party that are a part of it, deeply entrenched in it, all associates, will never rise again politically. These people are wicked. These people are wicked.
These are some of the questions that I want to ask him. I am prepared to work with anybody, any organization in the interest of the people of Jamaica. Because it's not about us, it's about the people who we serve. Thank you very much.
Wow. Some damning revelations, ladies and gentlemen, please. Wow. No, when you say don't do that. No, man. All of the members of the Jamaica Labour Party and the remnants of their organization, I pray that they'll never rise politically after God reveal all of the nonsense and foolishness so them are going with. Yeah, man, God, we are praying you bring them down. You make them crawl upon them belly in a disgrace, man. Can you imagine? No. The party itself I am praying that it goes into political retirement. DEATH. Never again to be seen. Their antecedents is so dark and evil. You understand? They should never have an opportunity to come in front of the Jamaican people again. Them is wicked. You know JLP history. I want to know, man. Them leisure is dripped in the blood of the Jamaican people. For years. Let's continue.